Hi there, welcome to today's painting tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to paint a rainbow trout with acrylic paints. So let's get started and check out the description below where you can find all the materials that you're going to need as well as the link to the sketch. And let's start with a size 0 round brush. And let's start by putting in the eye. So I'm going to take some black paint and let's go right into the center of that eye. And then take a little bit of white paint and then go inside that. And I want it to blend a little bit. Okay, and then rinse off the brush. And then we're going to take this beautiful gold color. This is the yellow ochre. It's one of my favorite paint colors. And put that around the black of the eye. And then you want the bottom to be a little bit lighter in the center, almost like it has a highlight there. You can also rinse off the brush, take your damp brush, and then try to pick up some of that yellow paint underneath. This is a watercolor technique, but you can use it with acrylic to get a nice sort of glowing effect for the eye. Okay, and then let's pick up some of this brown. This is the burnt umber. I go around the eye. And then I want to pick up some black and go around that with some black. Okay, that's going to give nice contrast and allow it to really pop. And then let's pick up some of this green. This is like a dark evergreen color. And let's put that in. I also put a little bit of drying retarder into this paint. And that's just a good way to help the paint dry slower. And it almost gives it an oil painting effect. Okay, and then let's pick up a little bit of this mint green and then put a little bit of that underneath the eye, sort of like a highlight, just to give it a little bit more realism, a little bit more dimension. Okay, and if you wanted to get further detail, you could even take some of this darker brown and put some around the top of the eye to create a little bit more shadow. And that can help that yellow ochre to glow a little bit more and stand out. Okay, so now let's do the mouth area. So I'm gonna take some burnt umber and put that in where there's a shadow for the mouth. And then maybe pick up a little bit of this pink color. And I'm going to dilute it a little bit or desaturate it with some white. And then put that in. And then I'll pick up some pure white. And put that in towards the end. Then let's pick up, I thought I had gray, but I'm going to mix a gray. So you just take black and a little bit of white. And make a nice gray. And then let's put that around the mouth, sort of as an outline. Okay, and then come all the way around that outer edge and bring that down as a nice shadow. And then we can take some white paint and put that around that edge and sort of blend that together as well. Help that paint to blend just to get some dimension. Okay, so now let's look at the top area here. So we have kind of a dark green and then we get lighter. So let's take some dark green and I want to increase the value and make it darker. So let's pick up some black, see if we can mix a dark green color. Just some black and some green. Okay, and then start putting that in around the top of the head. just to establish a nice dark color. Then I'm going to rinse that brush, and I want to make it lighter. So I'm going to take some of the green paint, and while it's still wet, let's start blending that in, getting that gradation of color where we're going from dark value to a lighter value. That's what gives your painting depth and dimension. You can bring this down here a little bit. Now we want a lighter shade of green, so let's take some white and a little bit of green, and then see if we can blend that in as a lighter value. Again, that's giving us nice dimension. Okay, and maybe we want to put a little bit of yellow ochre in there. Mix that in. Just give us a nice variety of color. Add more green in there. And then you could take some white paint, maybe go up here along the head as a highlight so that we know what part is coming forward in space. I'll pick up some white and go underneath the eye. Start bringing that down. Okay, and then this area we have some gills, and those are sort of, we can put those in with white paint. Just a curved line for a gill. You can put one over here. Okay, and then this part of the mouth, let's take some of this burnt umber, maybe some burnt sienna. Just go around that line where the sketch is. Maybe take some beige and then bring that down to create that mouth. Okay. All right, so that looks nice for the face. Let's move to this fin down here along the bottom. And for that, I'm going to take some of this dark brown or burnt umber. And then let's pick up some beige. Going in the direction of form here, thinking about the shape of the fins, how they kind of splay out in these lines. So I want that nice texture. And then towards the end, they're a little bit transparent and they're lighter. So you can pick up some white and then feather that in. And just like that. Okay, and then let's do that same thing to the other one. So I'll take my burnt umber, put that in, and then pick up some of the yellow ochre, start feathering it, maybe some beige, and then some white. Okay, it doesn't have to be too detailed or too complex. Just going to go back and add a little bit more texture. Okay, so now let's work on the fish's tail at the bottom. So I'm going to take this burnt umber color and let's put it in here for this tail. So you want this to go along the bottom, or the top of the tail rather, that edge. Start feathering it down. Okay, if you wanted more contrast, you can always add a little bit of black into that mix. And working quickly while it's still wet, I'm going to add some of this yellow ochre. Remember that drying retarder is helping to keep things workable longer. It's not going to dry as fast. Okay, let's take some of this burnt sienna. And then why don't we put a little bit of green in here? This is going to help give it, just make it more interesting and give it a little bit of variety of color. Got a little bit too much paint. Okay, so while it's still wet, let's pick up some white or some beige and then start feathering it. We're getting these nice brush strokes. Take some white and then put that in. So we're getting nice brush strokes. We're getting a lot of definition here, a lot of texture. Okay, and just help it get lighter as it goes down. Maybe add some more white. Maybe you want one area to show up a little bit more. And if it shows up too much, just go ahead and blend it out. Okay, so I think that looks good. Now let's do this one up here. So instead of that dark brown, let's go a little bit more green with some of the black. Put that in. Then I want to get lighter, so let's take some of this minty green color. See if we can pop that in. And then some white. Okay, so we're working one section at a time. Okay, so that's pretty simple. So now we have the body to do. And for the body, we want to use a larger brush. So instead of this size 0 brush, we're going to switch. And I'm going to use a larger brush. This is a size 6 filbert. And that's going to help us cover more area because we have a larger section to cover here. So let's start with the dark green. So I'll take a little bit of black and the green and then come up along this area. Okay, if you need to adjust your paper to get closer to the painting, go ahead and do that. You want to have nice crisp edges. Okay, and the brush that you're using will help you get crisper edges. This one is probably a little bit too soft, but we're going to work with what we have. Okay, so we're getting the green in there. Think about where the highlight might be. Okay, so while that paint is still wet, we could add a highlight. We could do that with the mint green. And we could put it up here along this fin. Just let it blend in. And then we can come down here and add a highlight right there. Okay. And then let's come down this way. I'm going to take some brown paint and start bringing that down. So the tail, it has a little bit of green in it, but it also has a lot of brown in it. Let's take this lighter brown, transition that in. Maybe some beige. And we can put the beige along that top of the tail. So sometimes you want to use a contrasting color to make something stand out. Since this is dark, I want to put a lighter color next to it so that it'll stand out better. And there's a dark shadow here. So I'm going to take some gray paint and let's put that gray in as a shadow. It's always good to have gray in your paintings. Okay, I'm going to pick up a little bit of green. See if we can sort of blend this area together so it's smoother. Okay, so now let's actually save the rainbow part for the end. So let's work on this belly. So let's take some black paint and mix it with some white so that we can get a gray color. And let's use the gray to put in the sort of underbelly of the fish. Okay, so we could do gray And then get lighter, so we could take some white paint. Let's actually rinse the brush. Black is such a dark, rich color that it stays on your brush, so sometimes you have to go ahead and rinse it off. Let's try to transition that so that paint has dried really fast and it's not letting me blend too much. Just get some blending medium on the brush and then that'll help it flow better. Okay, I'm going to take some white paint. And maybe to make that a little bit more interesting, you could add some yellow ochre in there. And you could add some beige as well. So we don't just have a pure white. We have a little bit of a color there. Okay, so I think that looks good. So now let's do the fun part, and that's going to be putting in these rainbow colors. So we have these beautiful rainbow colors on the palette, and let's see if we can use them to really make a nice effect. So we have green, and let's start putting in, let's put in a little bit more of this green color so that we can transition into a rainbow. So we'll take the green, and then let's pick up a blue. And these colors should be pretty light and pastel. I want them to be bright and light. So we'll take the blue. Then let's take some of this purple color. Nice, beautiful purple. And let's put that in. I'm wanting the colors to mix together and blend. Okay, and then let's take this peach color, and I want to mix that with some white paint. See if we can make it a light peach. So I don't want it to be too jarring. I want it to look natural. And I'm adding some white. Okay, and then I want that peach to sort of blend into this beige color. So we'll grab the white and let it blend together. Okay, so you can have fun with this part of the painting. Okay, so now let's put, well, it's still a little bit wet. I'm going to put a little bit of a highlight here. Maybe over here. Just areas that you want to stand out. Maybe bring this highlight back. Okay. And then if you need to, you can use your brush, damp brush, to blend in that highlight if it's showing up too bright. Okay, so now we can put in some details. So I'm going to switch back to the size 0 round brush. I'm going to pick up some white and let's put a little bit of highlight into the eye. Just really carefully to bring that to life. You can put it along the top too, because fish have that kind of round, really round eye. Sometimes the highlight hits at the top and the bottom, and even on the sides. Okay, and then let's put some dots and some speckles. And I have a good brush to do that with. I have this, it's a round brush, but it's really blunt at the tip. And that works great for making dots. So let's take a dark green. And I'm going to start just putting some dots. Let the brush do the work. That's why you want one that has sort of a flat top to it. And then you want to have a lot of variety, so you want some of these to be larger than others. If you want a bigger dot, just kind of swirl the brush in a circle. And try to make these dots random. That's one of the trickiest things that I find is trying to make things look natural by making them random. Okay, and then you could take some dark color, the burnt umber, and you can go around the face with some of these dots as well, around the head. Okay. And then even vary those colors. So maybe take some of the brown and put some dots in there with brown instead of making them all green. Could take some of the burnt sienna, put that in, and you could even take some of this yellow ochre. Okay, just have fun with it and be creative at this stage. Okay, and you could just put some at the top, or if you want to, you could go all the way down and put some on the other colors as well. Maybe just some little dots. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry completely, and then I'm gonna put some of this iridescent medium on top. And that's just a fun sort of addition that you can do. It's optional. This is just a transparent iridescent medium, so it'll be clear, but it'll give a really neat, shiny iridescent surface. So once that dries, I'm gonna put this on. Okay, so now that the painting is mostly dry, I'm gonna take this acrylic iridescent medium and I'm gonna put that onto the palette. It kind of looks white, but it dries clear. And then just take a large brush, maybe a little bit of water. And it kind of looks like pearlescent. And then go ahead and put that on top of your painting. I don't know if it's gonna show up on the video, but you can maybe see that it's just a nice iridescent shine to it. Really subtle, but very beautiful. Okay, you don't have to put it over the whole fish. I'm just gonna put it along the belly. Okay, so that's just a nice final touch that you can do just to add a little more sparkle and shine to your painting. Okay, so we're gonna call this painting complete. Thank you so much for painting along with me, and like and subscribe for more tutorials. If you want to improve your painting skills, grab my free guide in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!